Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lift Mental Health Movement Relationship Advice with yours truly, Auntie Sheila. Yes, we are all connected. I think you know full well it was only a matter of time until I reached out to chime in about the slap heard around the world. I mean, let's be honest, there's been, media outlets, they're lighting up left and right. As always, I'm going to bring you a different angle on all of this. I'm going to come at this slap, in case you aren't up to speed or haven't heard. Will Smith won an Oscar. He was offended on the night of the award ceremony by a joke, the word joke in quotes, that Chris Rock made about his wife. And he proceeded to walk up on stage and slap this man. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I myself had to do a little bit of research to make sure this was not a staged event. It was absolutely jaw dropping, and I wondered what it bothered me when I saw it. And I've had a few nights here where I'm thinking about it before I went to sleep, and then I got up. I was thinking about it also. I said, "What? This is just so heavy on my spirit. I don't know Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, or Chris Rock, but it was such a jarring moment, and I had to let it sit for a few days. And in that time, it settled over me. What really bothered me about it, and I want to get into that with all of you now. So I'm coming at this from a couple different perspectives. I want to talk about the spiritual elements, as I would see them and analyze them. This, some clinical pieces, and just bringing it full circle, that whole piece of humanity. And what I do want to say, most of you know, if you this channel has been around for over a decade. I'm not really into pop culture. I don't get into all of that. It's not that kind of channel. It's also not a channel where I'm taking the lives of other people and, throwing daggers or commentary. I'm not into that. What I will do from time to time is the observable behavior. This is not about, Chris Rock, Will Smith, or Jada Pinkett Smith in particular. You could put anyone in their spot, and because of what happened, it is a worthy moment. It's a teachable moment. So what I will do from time to time is take observable behavior and analyze it, so it can be useful as a teachable moment instead of just splattered all over the tabloid paper. So having said that, I just, understand where I'm coming from with the channel and my commentary. So I want to discuss this, a couple different things. Balance. I want to talk about fame, power, and money, and how that energy can play itself out when there is no balance. And lastly, I just feel like I have to chime in and talk about humility. The moment weighed on me because there were so many elements of what happened that are screaming for a conversation about humility. It's just like, it's like what is yelling to the world, talk about me, talk about me. So the first thing I want to say, we need to get past an issue here that I just, again, it's my humble opinion that we just need to check this box and move past this issue. Will Smith issued an apology saying, "I was so hurt and upset because you attacked my wife's medical condition." Okay, let's back up. First and foremost, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith have been extremely vocal out here, social media. They have a show together. They have been extremely transparent about issues they faced in life and in their marriage. I'm not going to get into the innards of that. I haven't worked with these people, I haven't treated them, but based on what they have put out into the public atmosphere and public arena, there have been issues around entanglements, extramarital activities, things of this nature. I also need all of you to understand Jada herself posted numerous commentary on social media about her alopecia medical condition. A lot of women deal with it. It's not an easy thing to deal with, particularly when you're in the spotlight like that. Hair means different things to different people, so it can be a devastating thing for a woman. Having said that, Jada has said on social media video she's posted, I don't give a damn of what people think about my bald head. Sidebar, I followed both of their careers, very talented people. Jada Pinkett Smith looks better now than she ever has. And I think she's 50 or above. The woman is gorgeous. Okay, so we need to get past this seemingly something of a justification that there was a joke made, a G.I. Jane joke made about my wife. So this is part of the reason I went up there. It's null and void. Even if that is your true reason, it is completely shocking and unacceptable, quite frankly, in anyone's hemisphere. Now, G.I. Jane, people had different commentary on this. G.I. Jane, and this is my estimation, that was not an insult. That's a strong woman. If you watch the movie, it's about a woman breaking through barriers, defying the odds. Yes, she had her head shaved, but what else is new? What else is new? So people were spinning this to all types of commentary. If they're gonna put their commentary, I'm gonna put mine. This was not some salacious, insult, what have you. I'm not even sure if Chris Rock knew about the woman's condition. Probably the man looked and said, "Bush, she's beautiful. That's a badass lady. She can even shave her head and look awesome." And she does. She does. So I feel like I needed to sound off because that was just on my spirit. Let's get this nonsense out of the way, okay? In all fairness, yes, one of my sensitive areas, I may have, issues or problems. I had stuff that happened within my family growing up. I don't like anyone talking about my I can, but I don't like anyone talking about my family. Just keep your mouth out of it. I had a friendship ended for someone made a slick comment about my family. It's not your business. That said, that being emotional and being triggered does not give you the right to go on stage. It's not a bar where people were kind of tuning in a live stream. This is one of the most prestigious world events, in front of colleagues, in front of the world, and slap a man in the face. And by the way, that footage is here. It's going to be around forever. So my heart does go out to Chris Rock, who in my estimation handles it professionally, beautifully, like a champ. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I could have handled it as well. So I don't think Chris Rock is getting enough props that he deserves. Just he's a pro and just keeping himself together. Because it's like, have I just been slapped? Has this really happened? Yes, it did. So getting some of those front-loaded issues out of the way, this is a powerful, teachable moment. And the core message for this video program that I want everyone to take away with, you have a personal and a professional obligation to take care of your mental health and to walk in balance. I can say those words, but behind those words, it's a body of work that I've been involved in for a long time. And it's a body of work that we all must dip our toes in, so to speak, so that we can remain upright. We can take this walk upright. And it's interesting. I believe that Denzel was counseling Will Smith, Denzel Washington, and said, be careful. I believe the statement was, the devil will come for you in your highest moment. The devil will come for you in a high moment, a low moment, a medium moment, but particularly from the spiritual aspect, we must guard our minds, stay so mindful and connected of what is going on in our spirits and in our hearts. Not some of the time, not once a month, not when you go to the spa, not when you go for a walk. That is the work of balance and mindfulness, building that relationship with yourself, that you at all times, you're in touch with that internal coach, that internal thermostat, taking your temperature. You can make all these adjustments in real time. I've told people again and again, airplanes are almost always technically flying off course. And when I say off course, by a millimeter, a millisecond, just little. But guess what? They have these amazing tools, these amazing instruments that are always, the pilot is working the tools, the plane itself is equipped to calibrate and recalibrate. There's always these minor adjustments being made to keep that gorgeous plane in the air. You never know, you may get a little turbulence or a bump, but there's always these adjustments being made because there's such a synchronicity between the pilot, the plane itself has built-in instruments, and then we have the instruments of speed, velocity, and force. This plane, the nature gives us these instruments to work with. So the work of balance is just that, keeping an eye on your instruments, if you will. So the lesson here is, this is a massive example. It's not an exaggerated example because it really did happen, but it's a monumental example of how days and weeks, maybe years and months of neglect, of not being honest with yourself. I'm out of balance. This is where I need work. The simple fact, and this is where the humility factor comes in. I like to bring things down, the analytical aspect of it. I'll isolate it to 3 seconds. There was a 3-second period where Will Smith had to negotiate. He had to say something to himself. There was a permission granted internally. He had to say something to himself and make an agreement that it was okay in front of my peers, in front of the world, at the most prestigious, probably night of his life, because he went on to win the award, I believe, for Best Actor. It's okay for me to go and slap another human being who, by the way, I've worked with, I have a professional relationship. I'm going to march up on stage and slap him. That okay with you, Will? Yeah, that's okay. Cool. Let's do it. I would isolate it to that 3 seconds, because that's a damning 3 seconds. When you look at that, that has to do with how emotions are processed in the moment. And guess what? If you don't process emotions prior to being triggered, those emotions will have their way with you. And that's what happened. There's something in there. And again, I don't know these people's business. I'm not on the innards of it. There's something that was bothering this man, and probably has been bothering him a long time, that has not been processed. So when this happened and he was triggered, everything went haywire. He looked over at you. I saw it myself. I saw him laughing. He was laughing at the joke. He looked over at his wife. She had a reaction. It seemed to me that based on her reaction, he navigated within seconds. Let me get up and get on this stage. So there's something that has likely been bothering him, and this all came into a cataclysmic tipping point, and he had not done any processing or cultivating the emotional control. Because what emotional control will do for you, if you guys have been watching my content for any number of time, I've done 3 videos where I tell you, please practice stopping and pausing. There's a reason for that. I said, if you're going to a restaurant, don't order right away. If you're at the gas station, take your time. If someone calls you and says, can we go to the movie I want to go? And even if you know you're going to say yes, tell them, I'm going to get back to you tomorrow. Because that builds muscles of control. The ability to delay responding and delay a reaction. If you practice that over time, you'll end up in a moment like that, and you have enough emotional wherewithal, even if your temperament is normally like, I'm gonna jack you up, or I'm gonna stick up for myself. I'm gonna be, even if that's normally your temperament, what you'll be able to do is stop just enough, remind yourself, oops, I'm in an environment here, that's not gonna fly. Or, wow, let me go 5 steps ahead of this. I go up on stage, I slap someone, wow, my award could get taken away. I'm going to have regrets. I could lose sponsorships. This is what I'm going to be known for. Building in that pause, it will give you the ammo that you need when you are triggered to say, woo, I don't want to do that. That coach comes in, because you built that relationship with the internal coach. The coach comes in and say, dude, Sheila, chill out. Hey, man, stop. Will, wait, what you doing? Oh, haywire, we can't do this. You can talk to Chris after backstage. So there was a permission given. And that is the quintessential element. That is what poor mental health is. The inability to control oneself and to control one's emotions. And we could see minutes later, he was on stage crying. So that was a wide swing, a wide ranging emotions. And the other thing I want to say, we all have our moments. Lord, I've been very transparent on this channel. Struggles I've had. I mean, I've cried. I have been the person that made a bad decision. Oh, shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, that's the wrong way to go. I've been very, very transparent about it. We're all here learning and growing. No question about it. The more you grow, whether that's in your career, in your marriage, the stakes just become higher. And there are some mistakes. God is, the slate is clean. God forgives everything. And people are very loving and forgiving. Will Smith will go on and make other movies and hopefully have a beautiful and tremendous life. But the price tag for the moment is very high. The price tag is very high. If he makes another movie, I like his movies. I'll probably go. But always in the back of my mind, it's going to be, I hope he's okay. It's a question mark that's placed on you as a professional. People don't know how to navigate you. So what I'm connecting you to is, by investing in this work, you will prevent a lot of moments. By investing in this work, when moments happen, you'll find that you're able to bounce back faster. But you can't do that if you won't be honest with who you are, what you're dealing with, what are the pitfalls. Until you get brutally honest about it, you're not going to make the kind of improvements and do the kind of work that you need to do. So balance, it's not a once a month thing, it's an everyday thing. It's habitual nuggets and habits that I suggest falling in love with the work myself. I'm like, well, this is going to be lifelong. Let me just make a commitment and fall in love with it. Let me fall in love with journaling. Let me fall in love with doing my EFT, my ACT. Let me fall in love with taking my dog for a walk every day. Let me fall in love with my process work, asking myself questions throughout the day. That gives you such an insurance plan against things happening that, quite frankly, did it need to happen? No, it didn't. I want to say a couple words about money, power, and fame. The other element of this that substantially disturbed / borderline disgusted me was, how could it be in a room full of people, you know, the Oscar, you know, the nominating committee, all of this, watched Chris Rock get slapped in his face, and moments later give Will a standing ovation. I don't know what this man's penalties will be. I'm talking about in the moment. And no one thought to pull this man aside. You know what? Tonight is not your night. What we're not going to do is validate this and allow you to take a bow. I mean, we can't undo what was done, but it's a stunning statement. And if it was anyone beside Will Smith or someone who had that money and that power and that prestige behind them, they would be under the jailhouse this morning. There is no question in my mind that in that room filled with money, prestige, and power, there was enough people that said, yeah, that's okay. That just happens. We're here celebrating. Let the party keep popping. Now you saw a micro moment, is like a microcosm of how people get abused and taken advantage of and disrespected, and a look the other way. I could think of so many individual circumstances where that dynamic played itself out again and again. Have enough money, have enough power, have enough prestige, and the people look the other way. I want you to imagine for a moment, if he went up there, it was a woman standing in Chris Rock's place. I want you to just close your eyes and vividly imagine that instead of Will Smith, it was the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, you know, someone who just didn't have that clout. Security guards would have rushed them. They would have been on the floor. What a stunning moment of where we are as a society, and the permissions that we give ourselves, the permissions that we give people with money, power, and privilege. Are you kidding me? Look, I don't know. This is not a mega YouTube channel, all right? But I put the messages out. They're heartfelt. And every message, I'm giving you the best information I have. And I pray to God that this message gets magnified. And this is what bothers me most about the whole sordid affair. To whom much is given, much is required. Let me say it. To whom much is given, much is required. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You know, a room full of people, Will Smith included. You have more money than God. You don't have to question where your next meal is coming from. You are privileged and blessed to work with some of the top talent in the world. Your children walk through this life privileged. You walk into a restaurant or a room and the Red Seas part on your behalf. Are you kidding me? To be that far detached from humility and the honor that has been granted you in this lifetime. And I don't think the apology, the tweet, whatever it was, I don't think it went far enough. That to me is perhaps the most damning message of the entire evening. And I'm not one, I've sat with, people who command great wealth, those kind of privileges. Look, we're all God's children. I'm not ever going to sit here and say, oh, just because you have the money and privilege, sucks to be you. You have to suck everything up. I say to my daughter, and we're basic middle of the road people to whom much is given, much is required. Humility. People say, I'm offended. I was in the moment. I'm sorry. There's a piece of this that it just smacks of arrogance. That part needs to be dealt with. And that's between everyone has to be right with God. But the permissions that are given, you think about that for a moment. I really hope as everyone reflects on this and these messages, all of us, we're in the middle of people are dying in Ukraine, being torn. The families are torn apart, bodies in the street. And then to have something like this, the humility and the Christ consciousness and the spiritual center, that is where everyone needs to migrate and run to very fast. I don't have two fingers pointed at you without all the fingers being pointed at me too. And I share these messages for my edification too. I record these and I listen to them for my spiritual food and edification too. Because I do not, in this lifetime, we're all on a journey. We're all on a journey. But the one thing that I don't want to have to deal with, and by the way, I look at this life as it's just a bridge and it's a blink of an eye. I'm happy to be here, yet I don't regard this as our true home, our real home. I think we come here to learn, to grow, to enhance, but I do believe we're going to have to stand before the Lord and answer some questions. I'll have questions to answer. There'll be things I need to answer for. I don't want to say with what has been given, there's been no gratitude, that it has been squandered. So this is a powerful, teachable moment. It should be for all of us. Check your permissions. Check your permissions. Check in your mind what you give yourself permission to do. Because right before someone is disrespected and degraded, you have to give yourself permission to do that. You have to give a high five to all parts of yourself. Let's go ahead and do this. And we disrespect, disregard, degrade each other all the time. It's happening all the time. So listen, at the end of the day, the final analysis is when you walk out of mental, physical, spiritual, emotional balance, just imagine that there's a bunch of doors. There's 7 or 8 doors open up around you. And you know what those doors open you up to? These dark influences. You're open up to manipulation. When your britches get so big and you get so much money in the bank and you think, I'm this, that, and the other, I don't have to sit in the front row and listen to anyone say jack smack. I'll come up on stage and smack you. When you get to that point, you're not in the driver's seat anymore. You have some other influences operating and maneuvering here. And so, listen, this is the United States of America. That's where I'm broadcasting from. All right, I'm going to say what I want to say. I have a right to say what I want to say. This is an important message, and whoever you don't like it, fine, send a comment. But we all need, this is a teachable moment. We all need to do some deep reflection. That's how I've used the moment. And when I tell you, whoo, I got on my knees a few days ago. Father God, please deal with me. It was just such a reminder of graciousness and humility. Quite frankly, I hope something good comes out of it. I hope that more is provided than a simple, a tweet or an apology. I really do. I think that Mr. Smith has gone very far in his platform. He yields an extraordinary amount of power. And I hope that he uses some of that power to make something amazing happen in this situation. So, you guys, that's my commentary. I could go further. I always could, but I won't. I'll be back. I'll be back soon. This has been The Lift with Auntie Sheila. We are all connected. Thanks, everyone. I'd like to know your comments. What do you think about all of this that has happened with the slap heard around the world? I'll see you soon.